So first week we had ethnography, and we started off just in the library, kind of getting some ideas together.
And the weekly task was to make an ethnographic observation on a location that we are not familiar with.
We chose the Coventry train station as most of us haven't been there before, and we just thought it'd be really interesting to see the different types of people that go through it daily.
And also we went at 2 different times, lunchtime and the end of the workday, to see if the situation is any different. But before that, we did our research and we read our readings, the one from Hammersley and Atkinson in particular.
From the readings, we understood that it was important to make a place that was familiar to us strange. So we chose to look at the train station at 2 different times, because there may be times that will be familiar to us if we travel a lot at the train station. So we observed it from a viewpoint of not ever being to a train station, to really get a feel of how people use their phones and their electrical devices.
So at first we sat on a bench kind of at the edge of the train station, and we tried to stay kind of low key when we were there, so people didn't notice us and change how they acted.
So that we don't intrude into their personal space. We didn't ask any questions, we didn't interview, we just
Observed.
Yeah.
We also had the camera there, so if any kind of behaviour we didn't catch when we were initially there, we could also kind of review afterwards.
It was important that we kind of stayed discreet so that people's behaviours didn't change towards us, so our findings would be accurate.
Yeah, the results that we got from the research was what we expected. It was quite self-explanatory for a train station, when the people there were like our age and teenagers and stuff, who are supposedly always on their phones. So yeah, they kind of agreed with that.
We kind of gathered most people using their phones for kind of entertainment and social media, what's that kind of either waiting for a train, but people did use them in a more kind of work manner by buying train tickets, using it to scan the train tickets.
The train times.
Yeah, checking train times as well. There's kind of like a wide variety of uses for it.
As well as having video footage, we also took notes of what was going on around us.
In week 2, we were assigned to look at discourse analysis and focus on the 3 key versions from Norman Fairclough, Harvey Sachs and Michael Foucault.
We started in the library discussing events or ideas that we could analyse and that would appeal to all of us. We looked at examples online of interviews and how it had been analysed and broken down and coded. The main one that we looked at was the Donald Trump interview. And so from there we kind of got an idea of how we would go about the discourse analysis.
So we settled on the Shia LaBeouf He Will Not Divide Us campaign. We chose this because it had plenty of coverage, a lot of articles on it, and being political, it was really easy to find kind of 2 opposing texts on it. So it's kind of the best to do with the most source.
And it was a very recent topic as well.
At first, we all kind of struggled a bit, kind of getting our heads around the idea. But looking at the slides and the theories online and kind of a few quotes surrounding it, we started to understand it better and we started to kind of break down all the articles and texts about it.
Also keeping in mind that none of us did discourse analysis and transcriptions before, it was difficult. But after watching the Donald Trump's video, it became a lot easier. And we used a similar technique into transcribing text as it was used in the Donald Trump's video, and it helped a lot. And what we did was we basically did our research on the main website, also looked at the social media and gathered some information and tried to highlight the most important parts, make notes on them.
We did a lot of desktop recordings to do the research because we were all doing it online, so it was the easiest option to use that to prove that we did the work, and we coded on the websites instead of transcribing an actual video about the He Will Not Divide Us campaign. We looked at the 2 articles about the He Will Not Divide Us campaign, because then it was the good thing about it and the bad thing about it, and then we coded it and compared and analysed them.
When it came to actually doing our discourse analysis, we followed Rosalind Gill's steps for discourse analysis, and we highlighted keywords and sentences to deconstruct the 2 opposing arguments. This made it easier for us to see the differences and really study the language.
We also looked at tweets and responses from the public surrounding the event for a bit of further analysis. It wasn't so kind of formal and scripted. So things like Twitter, Facebook posts in kind of a reply to the He Will Not Divide Us campaign from both sides of the argument.
For the third weekly task, we looked at virtual space. We had to choose an event and analyse it.
At first, thought about analysing slavery and how it changed the world, or has changed the world. But then we discovered Emma Watson's He for She campaign, which is a bit more recent. We looked at this particular phenomenon because it's more original, a bit more interesting for us to investigate, and it's quite a current topic.
Before that, we did some research on feminism itself and related topics to it, such as male gaze theory, glass ceiling, pay gap, and some others. And this helped to understand feminism in general and understand the He for She campaign as well. And we also tried to do some readings from Judith Butler's feminist theory to make our argument stronger. And after doing our research, we started investigating the main website for He for She campaign. We looked at their social media, such as Twitter, Instagram. We followed the main hashtag trends.
We looked into what their main aim was and how they had already made an impact for bettering women's education and work rights and stuff. And then we also found out what they're planning to do in the future and how we can help.
We also found out that we can actually sign up for this campaign and be a part of it on their main website.
Yeah, in the space of 10 minutes, there was almost 2,000 sign-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very active website and loads of people are taking part.
After gathering all of the information, we made Google Docs and basically combined all of the things that we found out. The history before that, the whole event, then the outcomes. And this made us understand the He for She campaign better. And just probably the feminism phenomenon in general.
And saw how it had impacted in the virtual space, so using social media and digital technologies instead of in realistic space. So we got a lot more variations of opinions on what the He for She campaign is and what people thought of it.
Exactly.
One of the main covered events for the He for She campaign was Emma Watson's speech in 2014. And it was a good example of how it took place in real space, but then the use of virtual space kind of made it viral and worldwide, with it being posted on YouTube and things like that. So we thought that was a good example of how they'd made use of more recent facilities available to them to access a wider kind of audience. So this week the task was surrounding people in interviews, and kind of the main goal was to learn how to and then conduct a successful interview. We did this by looking at kind of the pros and cons of different types of interview and thought which one would be the best one to use to get the most information, make the interview feel the most comfortable, and kind of get the best answers from them.
We decided to use the fun approach technique whilst coming up with the interview questions, and then also conducted a Skype interview and a face-to-face one-to-one interview where we printed the consent form and got all the correct information to use it.
So our group is doing a research project on friendship and social media, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions about it, and feel free to ask any questions, feel free to stop whenever you want to. You can pause whenever you want to as well. And this whole thing is going to be recorded, so I need your permission for that. So please sign the consent so that we can get your permission. Do you feel safe online?
If I know them, I do feel safe opening up, because I feel like it wouldn't change if I was to do it in person. If it's someone I've never met, I feel like I would still feel safe because there's that barrier.
We did 2 types of interviews and we wanted to see how both of them work. We kind of had an idea that the Skype interview is not going to be as informative in terms of body language because you can't really see it.
Just throughout the interview, we took notes on answers and also had recorded footage to pick up on anything we missed in terms of answers and body language, so that we could look back on it and reflect.
So we also did a Skype interview, and we did this because we wanted to kind of see the contrast between that and a face-to-face interview. So kind of a more traditional compared to a more kind of modern interview. We wanted to see if there were any restrictions in terms of kind of analysing the interviewee and how they reacted to questions and their body language and things like that. As opposed to the face-to-face interview where obviously everything's happening in front of you, it's easier to take notes on. We also wanted to see how the interviewee felt doing it over Skype, if they felt more formal or informal when answering the questions. For the 5th week's task, we were asked to produce a photo essay. We met up at the library to come up with the best topic for the essay. We settled on doing campus life because we're all familiar with it, and being at the university, we had access to a lot of things that would help us with the photo essay.
One of the main planning points of making a photo essay is to make sure you've got a photo script, so you know where to go and what photos to take. To do that, we went and scouted out a few locations around the university. These included the hub, the library, and our main building, which is the Ellen Terry building.
And the first day was spent walking around the campus and just taking random pictures of students doing random things. And then after that, we all gathered all of our pictures and made a quick PowerPoint presentation where we added short captions to every single picture explaining what it is and how it reflects on our campus life.
So we wanted to kind of create an accurate representation of campus life.
With our photo essay, both text and photos were equally important. We did this because within the reading, we realised that one of the main aspects of having a photo essay is to have both elements be as important as each other. The captions that we had didn't really overshadow the photos. They kind of enhanced them as it kind of explained our viewpoints of the photos.
For the last slide, I was going to figure out how media and communication students engage with digital media. So we kind of focus on the use of social media to communicate with other course mates and group members. We had to find out how popular things like Locate were.
Because having in mind that this week's topic was about digital research, we wanted to stay in the digital space and did everything online. So we created a survey on SurveyMonkey and included questions related to our idea, and it was shared on the Media and Communications Facebook page.
The next day we got the results and we tried to analyze that, put everything in a Word document. What? Is that enough?
One of the most important things we want to do is not write leading questions. Same for with the interviews. We want to kind of have a non-biased, kind of open question that not lead the person being questioned to one answer or the other, as to avoid getting one set of answers that are slightly biased.
I think what helped us the most was the aspect of auto-ethnography, as we're media and communication students, so we ourselves knew a lot about how we use digital media to research, and that was important when coming up with survey questions, because we had a rough idea of what students would use and what platforms they would use.
We also looked at how we used it in our group for ourselves for this whole behind the scenes task, and we looked at how we mainly used WhatsApp to communicate, to plan when we were meeting up, to plan room bookings and what some of our ideas were if some members couldn't turn up to the meetings. So we used a social media platform the majority of the time, and I think that was reflected really well with the results from other people on our course.
Yeah, the resounding kind of answer was that without social media, people would find it a lot harder to communicate with their groups and organise meeting up and when to do work, things like that. So it kind of facilitates a lot of, or kind of enhances your ability to meet up as a group and work, which people found very important. In terms of locate, we didn't see as positive results. People don't use it as much.
Maybe a few times a month, if that.
But when they did use it, they said it did enhance their learning. They found it very useful when they did need to use it. And they did prefer kind of having the online book so they could use it at home instead of coming to the library to do it.